Welcome to On the Fly, the show that covers fly fishing here in Connecticut and surrounding areas. I'm your host, Leigh Smith. Tonight, my guest is Gary Steinmiller, president of the Connecticut Fly Fishermen's Association. Gary, welcome and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
It was so good that you could join us. Really appreciate it. Gary, why don't we get kicked off a little bit by you telling us about CFFA, maybe an overview of the organization, maybe some of the history and so forth.
So we were formed in 1967. So this year will be our 60th anniversary coming up. We focused in the beginning on conservation a lot more. We had a lot more younger members that were able to do conservation projects, and now most of us have aged. But we focus real heavily on education, and we're out in the public, and we teach fly fishing, and we teach fly tying. We have taught rod building, and we still do conservation projects. So yeah, so for 60 years, we've been pretty active in promoting fly fishing.
That's tremendous. I know you're the president, so I guess I should ask, how long have you been a member? And then what was sort of the how and when that, just made you decide to become president?
So I became a member in 1984. Started by coming to a fly tying class, and they were held in East Hartford. I think it was East Hartford Library I went to. And immediately, I was attracted to the members that were doing the teaching. They were so passionate and willing to share their information. So I kept my membership up after I took the fly tying class. And like I said, I was like a sponge to the older members. I could not get enough information. I read books, I did everything else, but to see something done one-on-one and to have that camaraderie, I thought it was something that I wanted to be a part of. So I stayed, and then I ended up going to a board meeting probably a couple years later. And the education chairman stepped down. And so I happened to be at the board table, and they said, "You seem interested. How would you like to be our education chairman?" So I took the job, and I kept the job for 22 years. It was just my favorite. Like when I joined, I said, I really don't want to do numbers. I don't want to do this. I don't, and being involved with passionate people that wanted to learn the sport was what I enjoyed the most. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't the instructor in the beginning. I was coordinating it, and we had our instructors were school teachers, school teachers. One was named Mark, the other one was Myron, and then it was Gary. And they taught the fly fishing school, and then we had various instructors teach the fly tying school. So I watched them and learned from them on how to present the material and what was important, and I just loved it. So every time I was asked to move on and be in a president or another position, somebody else would step up, and I was happy. I didn't do it. Well, we got down to it was 2016, and our past president was stepping down after being president for 5 years. And he called me and said, "Hey, Gary, would you like to be president?" And I thought about it, talked it over with my wife, and I said, I shouldn't put this. So in 2011, I stepped down from the education chairman position, and we had another fellow take it over, and then another fellow after that, and it was in good hands. So, but I still was there, at the classes. I just couldn't stay away. And then I was away for 5 years, and then, just not even on the board. I'd come to the meetings and everything, and then Bruce called me and said, I'm going to step down. Would you mind being president? And I said, do you have anybody else? I said, sort of, I don't know what my plans are. I had retired, and I said, I don't know if I'll be around winters. But so then he said, let me look around and see if anybody else is interested. Nobody else was interested. Calls me back, says, do you think you want to do it? I said, okay. So I did it, and that was in 2016. And most of our presidents, you look back on our history, on our website, it shows all the presidents we've had. Well, we've only had 10, and most of them were 3-year terms.
Wow.
So I'm going on 10, but I have such a good board of directors. Every position's filled except for legal, and they're easy to work with. So I've continued on, and I know someday I'm gonna pass it on, but for now it's still a joy, and it's not a lot of work. Everybody does their job, it's not that much work, and it's enjoyable, and so I don't.
That's great.
It's
sounds like it's a lot of fun.
I think I was meant to be here.
Yeah. Well, you've got the history too. I mean, kind of
Yeah.
having grown up in the organization, you
Yeah.
you have a lot of the history that goes with
well,
it.
that's what Bruce thought when he asked me.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Tell me a little bit about like what the organization looks like today. Things like membership size, monthly meetings, that type of thing. Kind of what's involved in actually an organization like CFFA.
So we currently have about 185 members. Our biggest total was when the movie River Runs Through It came out, and we had over 300 members. Everybody wanted to fly fish.
Absolutely.
Everybody wanted to learn. Some of the classes, when I was running the classes, we had 44 students in the class, and that's not an issue. We will take them all. It's just for me getting the volunteers to do the on-stream instruction, because we can do everything else. So we have 185 members. I think 40 or 45 of them are lifetime members, and some of them are just recent lifetime members. They decided to support our organization. Now, out of those 185 members, our monthly meetings, which are held here in this building at the community center, we usually get between 35 and 40 attendees at our meetings.
Okay.
So what impresses me about that is that every year we have 100 or so members, 150 members renewing and paying their dues, and they don't come to our membership meetings, but they believe in what we do. They know what we do because in the newsletter that goes out monthly during the seasons that we're meeting, they get a good overall view on what we're doing with their money. And so they continue to thank us. When previously we used to meet in East Hartford at our monthly meetings before we moved here. And then when COVID hit, we did Zoom meetings. And then where we used to meet in East Hartford, the clubhouse, Veterans Memorial Clubhouse on Sunset Ridge, got shut down. So we needed a new place. And Wethersfield was a center of the state, so I contacted the people here, and we now meet here.
Okay.
So it's been working out well. People are used to it. Unfortunately, there were some members that lived pretty far in the eastern part of the state, and they just don't make the ride to come to a meeting. But on the other hand, we've got more members from the western part of the state that drive in. So really, in half an hour in any direction, half an hour from here, you can be down to Old Saybrook, and half an hour north, you're up in Suffield, and so we're pretty centrally located. Half an hour east, half an hour west, you can get here.
Good deal.
So that's why we're here.
And just for the folks in the viewing audience, when he says here, it's 30 Greenfield Street in Wethersfield, and your monthly meetings are held at what time and day?
So we have meetings in September, October, November, December, January, February, no meeting because we have our annual banquet and an expo. March, April are here, and then in May we meet outside on the banks of Salmon River.
Okay, good. So you're meeting most of the year. Sounds like you're taking the summer off, but
some of us need a break after. We teach all winter and we get people prepared to go out and fly fish, and then we start up again in September, and we go through the winter, and it really does makes the winters go by.
And for the months where you meet here, what is the time that you're meeting?
So the doors open at 6 for a meeting, and sometimes, most of the time, we'll have some fly tyers demonstrating their craft and demonstrating certain patterns that they tie prior to the meeting. It's a little bit of a social time, free time, up until 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, we make our club announcements, and anything that has to be said or any questions that the audience has, we bring it up. 7:15, our speaker gets ready to do his presentation, and usually he starts at the very latest by 7:30. And usually we ask them to come and do 45 minutes to an hour. Sometimes, you know how fishermen are, they like to talk, and we don't get out of here until 9.
Sure.
So, but we do have the room from 6 to 9. So anybody that's interested, you can plan your time getting here, but the doors open at 6. You don't have to wait till 7. But if you just want to come for the program, you know, come 7:15, 7:30, and you'll be right on time for that.
Okay. And what are some of the speakers, the types of topics and individuals that you have speaking?
So in the beginning, this was strictly more or less a trout fisherman fly fishing. And fly fishing in saltwater has grown so much, and fly fishing for carp has grown so much, and fly fishing for largemouth bass has grown so much. So we sort of try to get all of them. You know, it won't always be fly fishing for trout. It could be 1 month fly fishing for trout, next month fly fishing for salmon. You know, we try to do local events, local fishing opportunities, so people can come here and learn about a local opportunity, whether it's going down to the shore in the fall to catch bonito and false albacore, or striped bass right now, or if it's going right now, smallmouth bass fishing or largemouth bass fishing in ponds. So we try to concentrate on stuff that people can do here and now, you know, and around the area.
So good. Sounds like you cold water fish, warm water, and so forth.
Yeah. So it's gone well. I mean, the meetings. It's you know, Roger Plord is our program chairman. He's always looking for people that have programs to do for us. We've had people come and discuss the art of making a bamboo rod from scratch. And I was wondering, I said, how many people are going to come to this meeting? You know, like, you know, how many people really want to build a bamboo rod? But I was surprised how many people came to that meeting. And it was almost like we had a bunch of engineers in the audience asking questions that, you know, that the rod builder could answer that were way over, you know, my head.
Sure.
You know, I mean, we taught rod building, but we used graphite rods and blanks like that. And I built 2 through our first instructor that we had many years ago in the 80s. I built two fly rods, and we just don't have an instructor now. Otherwise, we would offer that probably as part of one of our educational programs.
Great. Last question before we kind of move to the next section. What does it take to be a lifetime member?
Okay, so our membership, if you go, you can find our membership on our website and just click on membership, and there's first of all junior membership. Kids that are 21 and under, it's $5 to be a member of the organization. We just hope that, you know, they find something interesting and maybe pick up a hobby, and they can get our newsletter for $5 a month. Then the next step up is $25, which is just a regular membership. Then we go up to $30. $30 is a supporting member. And then you go up to $75, which is a contributing membership if you want to do that. And a lifetime membership is $300 for, you know, so if you're young and you join, you know, and you think it's something you want to be part of, $300. It was $100 when I joined, but I still pay you know, we need an operating budget.
Sure.
And if everybody joined and paid $100 in the beginning, we wouldn't have a budget for the year.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that's great to know. I noticed that you earlier mentioned you had the expo in February. Tell me a little bit about the CFFA Expo, what's there, what to expect, and so forth.
So the expo started small. That's Roger Plord's baby. He knows most of the vendors. We started small, and we started at a different location, and we were at Manili's for a long time, and now we're in South Windsor at Nomads, for the time being. But the expo starts. It's a full day for all of us members. We have, because we do the expo and the banquet on the same night. The expo starts at 9 a.m. We charge $5 to get in. There's seminars that are, whether they're freshwater, saltwater seminars, and there's Nomads was big enough for us to incorporate fly casting lessons for people that wanted to learn that.
Okay.
So for $5, you get all of that, and then last year I think we had 26 vendors, and some of them bring their fly tying equipment. Some of them bring rods. Some of them. We had a leather goods guy last year come, and I bought a wallet that he made, and it had a dry fly, made into it. So all kinds of vendors. 2 seminars that happen during the day. We have a featured speaker. Now our featured speaker also speaks at the banquet that evening. So we've had some great speakers over the years. We try to now stay local because plane fares cost a lot for us to get somebody here. But I think this year coming up we have Rich Strollis is booked, but they spend the day. In the beginning, when we had guys like Gary LaFontaine, we had Dave Whitlock, we had tremendous speakers, and we used to have them. They used to tie with some of the members that wanted to pay extra money and tie with them. Well, we decided that that really is taking him away from the general audience that wants to come in and just talk to him, maybe about a book or whatever else. So we stopped doing that, and our featured speaker is there for the day at the expo, and whatever he's known for, if he's selling books, he's there, and he's also there for our featured speaker at our banquet. And the banquet starts that evening, so some of us are pretty tired by the end of the day.
How many people usually attend for the banquet?
So we're down to getting about 100. Over the years, we would get about 150 at a banquet. The numbers have, gone down. The prices keep going up for a banquet meal. And so we're right around 100 right now. When we had an anniversary and we had Lefty Cray as a speaker, we had him twice. We had up to 200 people come to our banquet that night to see him, maybe get some books signed. We had Gary LaFontaine. He drew in a big crowd. So, the names will bring in the crowd, but the names also, you got to pay them too.
Sure,
so,
absolutely.
So.
Yeah. So during the seminars and the instruction, the fly tyers, are those primarily members that are, let's say, giving the instruction, doing that type of thing, or is it a mix of?
Well, usually our speaker our featured guest gives one of the seminars, and then we'll get. Sometimes we have 2 seminars in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, and the fly casters are usually they're members that teach the fly tying. Some of them, not always. But they're certified FFI, Fly Fishers International fly casters that are given the lessons for that part of it.
Okay, good deal. Any events that you want to highlight that are coming up later this year?
So our year starts out, I can sort of give you an idea. We start out in January with our fly tying classes. They go 7 weeks. Then we go into our fly fishing school, and that's 4 classrooms and 2 outdoor sessions, and that takes us into May. Then we all take a break. And then in September, we decided to do it in September this year. We sort of make contact with all the previous students that just took it, and we want to hear, and we make a day of it. And last year we went up to People's Forest, and we met them there, and we had 34 come, and we got there, and we listened to their successes and their failures throughout the year. We all have them. And then we took them on the river and reinforced, things that they might be having a problem with. So that would be our next thing. We really don't do anything unless we get asked, by sometimes, over the years, we've done a Boy Scout Jamboree Day. We've done the Burlington Fish Hatchery was celebrating 100-year anniversary, and we attend that. So we do go out in the public and do those type of things. But we really take a break June, July, and August, and everybody gets to fish and enjoy the summer. And then we get going again in September with our monthly meetings, and our monthly meetings are usually on a Monday. Most of them are on a Monday evening. The dates in the schedule are all on our website, always on our Facebook page or our website, if people are interested.
And that was going to be my next question. So for the people viewing or those who will be watching this streaming or otherwise, if they want to find out about the calendar and want to find out about the events and so forth, is it directing them to your website?
Yeah, so you contacted us through Facebook, and somebody saw your message and passed it on to me. So that's one way to get in contact with us. I do put the events on our CFFA, ctflyfish.org website on the calendar. So if anybody's thinking about taking the fly tying classes next year, the schools are there. You have to just go to the calendar, the events, upcoming events, and look into 2027 and go to January, and you'll see the dates for next year's classes and for the fly fishing school, because we have to book them a year in advance through this community center. So as soon as I know the dates, I put them on there. And the monthly meeting dates, we won't know the subject matter, but I make sure that the dates for the meeting are on the calendar. So September should be on there. September, October, November, December. The dates of the meeting will be on there, but the topic and the information details won't be there.
Okay, good deal. And we'll flash the contact info later in the program for those of you watching and want to collect that, or reach out to Gary and his team with questions. Switching gears, I know conservation is a big part of this for your organizations and others as well. Can you tell me a little bit about CFFA's conservation efforts, throughout the year?
So in the very beginning, we were doing stream restoration and really moving stuff that was heavy in coordination with the DEEP. That was way back in the 60s and the 70s. We don't do that anymore. Our home river, pretty much, that we maintain is the Willimantic River TMA. And that was formed, and our membership had a lot to do with that. The river was polluted for the longest time. It was being polluted by some sewage treatment plants that were up in Stafford Springs, I believe, and the effluent was flowing into the rivers. Once it cleaned up, our CFFA members contacted the DEP and the legislators and said, hey, can we get, since it wasn't stocked, I don't believe it got stocked again until the early 70s. It was not stocked at all with trout because of the pollution.
Sure.
Once they started stocking it again, our group wanted to see if we could get a designated area for fly fishing only. And since we weren't going to be taking it away from somebody that already had been trout fishing there for years,
Right.
We thought we had a better chance at getting something like that. So we went forward with it and successfully, and the Cole W. Wild Trout Management Area was formed, and it's fly fishing only. And it's a nice section of the river. We maintain the trails on, how nature, if you didn't maintain the trails, it would get totally overgrown. But it's a stretch from where Roaring Brook enters at the upper reaches of the TMA, and then it comes down to I think it's Route exit 78, right at the end of Nyholman State Forest, right where I think it's Route 74 crosses in Wellington, and then you go up the road. But I'm pretty sure the upper level, and the trails are maintained the whole length of it. And we do that. Our activities chairman gets a crew every March after the winter winds, and we go out with chainsaws and with bags and pick up the trash and the litter that's along the river. And so that's our baby, the river. We also help the DEEP stock the river. There's stretches of it where I'm mentioning up from Roaring Brook all the way down to behind the rest area that's on 84 that the stocking truck can't get to.
Gotcha.
So we were given some stocking carts from, I think it was Nathan Hale's school in the state, and they built them, and we can put, the state meets us on the river, we put about 2 good netfuls, which can be 125 fish, and we have 6 floating live carts that we get in the river with. The state puts the fish in the cart, and we go down with a net and 2 people, one person holding the rope, one person opening the cart, flipping the cart open, putting some trout here, some trout there. So we do that just so anybody that really wants the wilderness experience that goes with fly fishing and wants to hike up the trail and get away from the bridges and get away from everybody else can do that and be successful. So we do that if the water conditions are safe enough to do that. Last year, all the stars aligned. The year before, we had 2 inches of rain the night before we were scheduled, and the DEP will just go and put the fish in. Yeah. And when they do that, sometimes we'll meet them there and we'll form a bucket brigade and help them, just to make the fish get to where we want them to go.
That's great. That's great. So if we say home waters for you, that's probably the Willimantic then.
Well, I don't fish there that much because, it's a half hour from my house, and I can get to the Salmon River in a half hour, and I can get to the Farmington River in a half an hour. So I have a tough decision to make. Those are early season spots that I frequent. I wouldn't say it's the majority of my fishing, but it is a place where, in the early season, March, April, and May, before the waters warm up to above 70 degrees, that it's a very good place to fish, and it's a great place. We do our classes on the river. Our on-stream instruction is on the Willimantic River, and this year, it was a ball. I mean, everybody got there, and the water was at a tame level where nobody was going to fall in and get hurt. That safety always comes first with us, and we got in the river, and we were able to teach the students what they needed to know to be successful throughout the summer.
That's fantastic. So I see here that there's some classes that you sponsor. One is with, I believe it's for, is it the American Society of the Deaf?
So at the American School for the Deaf in West Hartford, we started a program helping them tying flies there over 30 years ago. And we had one fellow that led his name was John, that led the program for a good number of years. And then we had Kevin take over the program. If some reason this year, Kevin stepped down this year, and we didn't have anybody ready to step in. So this was the first year that we hadn't done that in 30-something years. But it's over at the American School for the Deaf. We go in, we have to be, cleared by them, vetted by them when we go in. And the volunteers that we get that do that and come to those programs are some of the nicest people you want to meet. They're just giving their time, and they're teaching these kids that really, and the smile that comes on their face. And teaching a person that's deaf it's not as hard as you think, because their visual senses, they watch every move you make when you're tying the fly. And all you have to do is say, watch me, and then you do it, and then you undo it, and you hand it to them, and it's amazing. They do it right, within the first or second try. And then the smiles on their face. And then, so we do 4 classes with them. We teach them how to cast. And when they are done with their flies, they keep them all in a box. And then we go on an outing with them. The school takes a bus full of them, and they come with some of their instructors, because none of us, I shouldn't say none of us can sign. A couple of our members can sign and communicate with them, but they send, chaperones from the school. And we go, and they have we have a cookout, and they, at the Willington Fish and Game Club, and they offered their property to us, and we go there, and we meet, and they get to fish with their flies and catch a fish. And
wonderful.
Yeah, I got so one story. So one of the girls, I wear these flip down focals because I can't see when I'm tying flies, and she's looking at me like, what are those? What are those? And I said, here, I put the hat on her head, and then I said, look at the fly now, and the fly looks like this big.
Sure.
But the smile on her face was priceless.
Awesome.
And then another one, when we got to the pond, I had polarized glasses on because we use them for safety when you're when fly casting or walking in the water or anything else. So she, one kid was looking in the water, and the glare was awful, and you couldn't see anything. And I took my polarized glasses off, and I put them on her. And the smile, it just opened up a whole new world to him. He's looking under the water, and he could see the fish swimming by, and he's calling all his friends, and he's taking my glasses and
showing
saying,
it to them.
look at these. So that's a very rewarding program that we do. It works out very well. And we hope that we do have a person that's stepping up for us. As long as it's okay with the school, that program will continue in the future.
Great. Well, I know we're coming to the end of our program, and so if someone is interested in joining CFFA or coming to a monthly member meeting or joining, it sounds to me like the website, which we're going to flash up here in a second, that's the primary way to contact. And I think you've got an email and some other stuff on there as well. Is that correct?
So anybody that wants to ask any questions, if they go to our website, ctflyfish.org, and there's a contact area there, and it asks if you're a member, if you're not a member, and you can send a question. I get all those questions.
Okay.
And I reply to them. I don't just toss them unless it's somebody saying, we have a cleaning service that you might be interested in.
Gotcha.
But anybody that's interested in fly fishing, they can contact us that way. Membership is on there. There's a link for membership on there. You can pay through PayPal using your own credit card if you want, or you can send send a check in the mail. And on our Facebook page, there's a QR code for our membership, and you can pay for membership that way if you go to our Facebook page. Our Facebook page has about 1,700 followers, and it's really, when things are going to come up quickly, that's where we put our messages. So if the DEP says we need you to contact your legislatures, I send out something to our membership, and I'll also put it on our Facebook page for the 1,700 followers that believe in what we believe in, to help us.
Excellent. Gary, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Before we sign off, is there anything else that that our viewers need to know about CFFA? So
it's a good organization. It's been around for 60 years, which proves that we're friendly. Fly fishing can have a bad name, it's snobbish. I've never found that. Some of my best friends, and it really is a sport in our organization where you can talk to somebody that's 40 years older than you and feel very comfortable. One of my best friends in the club was 40. My mentor, who when I first joined, Ernie, was 40 years older than me, and one of my best friends is 30 years younger than me.
That's great.
So the organization is open to everybody. Anybody that wants to come is welcome.
Good deal. Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
So I want to thank Gary Steinmiller for joining us tonight and giving us an overview of the Connecticut Fly Fishermen's Association. I want to thank the crew for making us look good, and thank you for watching On the Fly. Hope to see you on the water.